Hello everybody. Today we are starting chapter 7, which is about solving systems of equations. So today we are going to be solving systems of equations by substitution. So go ahead and if you have not already, get out a notebook. You might want to pause this video so you can get out a notebook and something to write with. We are going to be taking notes by hand in the notebook today. So again, if you want to go ahead, pause this video and replay once you get out your materials. All right, a system of equations is a set of one or more equations with two or more variables. So for example, y equals 2x plus 5 and y equals 5x minus 7. The set of those two equations together makes a system of equations. A solution to a system of equations in two variables, which is what we're going to be focusing on, is the set of xy that is a solution to both of these equations. So we want to set, let's say, -1, 5. Let's say that if that were a solution to both of these equations, then we would have our answer. And actually, the solution to this system is 4, 13. We can double check that by checking y equals 2 times 4 plus 5, which is 13. And so it is a solution to that first equation. And then looking at the second equation, y equals 5 times 4 minus 7 is also 13. So that would be a solution to the system. To solve a system of equations, we have two ways, either algebraically or graphically. Today we are going to focus on solving algebraically using substitution. I'm going to flip to the next page. If you need to pause the video so you can get this all down before starting examples, please do so. All right, so our first example, solve the following system using substitution. Example number 1, y equals x plus 2 and 2x plus y equals 8. So the first thing that you have to do when you're solving a system of equations is isolate a variable. This is usually done for you already, and in this case that's done for us already. In our top equation, y equals x plus 2, this top equation is already solved for y. Y is already isolated. So what we're then going to do is we are going to substitute isolated equation into the other equation. So I'm going to take what y equals x plus 2, and I'm going to substitute that into the other equation for y. And substituting works just like you would substitute in sport, or for example, today you have a substitute teacher. That substitute teacher is there because I am not. So when we substitute x plus 2 in for y, the y is gone from that equation. And then the x plus 2, what we're substituting, is in. Just like I'm gone and you have a substitute today. The y disappears and we substitute in what y equals in its place. And then solve. So I have a 1 here. If I distribute that 1 in, that gives us 2x plus, don't know what happened, plus 1x plus 2 equals 8. Combine my like terms, 1x plus 2x is 3x, plus 2 equals 8. Subtract 2 on both sides. 3x equals 6, and divide both sides by 3, we get x equals 2. Once you solve for the variable, our last step is to substitute answer in to any equation to find the other variable. So now that I know x equals 2, I'm going to substitute that into my top equation, y equals x plus 2, and I'm going to substitute that in for x because this is what x equals. X equals 2, so we take x out and we put in 2, so we get y equals 2 plus 2, which is 4. So our answer is the set of x, y, so 2 comma 4, that is the solution to both equations. We always write our answer as an ordered pair, x comma y. So again, since x was 2 and y was 4, we have 2 comma 4. Example 2. Y equals negative 4x plus 32 and y equals x minus 30. So in this example here, I'm going to take our steps and just copy them and drag them down so we can refer back to these. Our first step says isolate a variable. So in this case, y is isolated for both equations, so I don't have to do step 1. Step 2, substitute the isolated equation into the other equation. So in this case, both of them are isolated. So we can choose to substitute negative 4x plus 32 into this equation for y, or we can substitute x minus 3 into that equation for y. Either way will be fine. So since that's what I have, let's start there. So I have y equals negative 4x plus 32. So we're going to take out y and substitute in what y equals, the x minus 3. So that gives me x minus 3 equals negative 4x plus 32. I have variables on both sides, so I need to move my variables to one side. I'm going to get rid of the negative 4x on the right-hand side by adding 4x to both sides. X plus 4x is 5x. So on my left-hand side, I have 5x minus 3. My right-hand side, negative 4x plus 4x is 0, so I'm just left with 32. So now I'm going to solve for x. So I get rid of the minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides. My left-hand side now, I'm left with 5x. My right-hand side, I'm left with 35. And finally, I can solve for x by dividing by 5. So I am left with 1x on the left-hand side, 7 on the right-hand side. So I have x equals 7. So now step 4 says substitute your answer into an equation to find the other variable. So I'm going to take what x equals 7, and I'm going to substitute it into this bottom equation for x, because that's what x equals 7. So I have y equals x minus 3. X again is 7. So I have y equals 7 minus 3, which is 4. So my answer, again, is the set of x comma y, so 7 comma 4. That is a solution to the system. Again, if you need to pause to write this down, please take your time to pause. All right, number 3. I'm going to take those steps and I'm going to move them on down so we can keep referring to them. Okay, so step one, isolate a variable. So in this case, my top equation has x isolated, so I don't have to do step one. So I can now substitute what x equals into my other equation for x. And again, I'm substituting for x this time because x is the variable that is isolated. X is what's all by itself. So I have 2 times x equals negative 3y minus 6. Again, we're going to substitute out x and substitute in what x equals, negative 3 plus y. Distribute, that gives us negative 6 plus 2y equals negative 3y minus 6. Now I have variables on both sides, so I'm going to move my variable to the left. So I'm going to get rid of the negative 3y on the right by adding 3y to both sides. So my left-hand side now is negative 6 plus 5y. My right-hand side, negative 3y plus 3y is 0, so I'm just left with negative 6. And now I'm going to continue solving for y, so I want to get rid of that negative 6 by adding 6 to both sides. So we get 5y equals 0, because negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Finally, divide by 5, so we're left with 1y equals 0. Step 4, substitute our answer into any equation to find the other variable. So I'm going to substitute into the top equation. I know x equals negative 3 plus y, but y again was 0. So we have x equals negative 3 plus 0, so x is negative 3. So our answer is again the set of x, y. So negative 3, sorry, that was not x is negative 3, comma 0. Again, we have x, comma, y. And example 4. I'm going to move these down. Again, if you need to pause, rewind, what have you at any point, go back so that you have enough time to write this down, please do so. All right, example number 4. Step 1, isolate a variable. So I do not have a variable isolated here. Notice in my top equation, I have y plus 5. So I have 5 on the same side as y. Or my bottom equation, I have 3y minus x. So I have both x and y on the same side. So I'm going to take this top equation and I'm going to isolate y. So I have y plus 5 equals 2x. I get rid of the negative or the positive 5 by subtracting 5. So we get y equals 2x minus 5 because these are not like terms, so I cannot add them together. So now that y is isolated, y is all by itself on the left-hand side of the equation, I can substitute what y equals into the other equation for y. So that other equation is 3y minus x equals 5. But again, we're going to take out y and we're going to substitute in 2x minus 5, what y equals. Y is what we're substituting for. And now we solve. So I'm going to distribute in that 3. That gives us 6x minus 15 minus x equals 5. Now I have like terms on the same side of my equal sign, the 6x and the negative 5, so I can combine those like terms to give me 5x minus 15 equals 5. And I can now solve for x. I get rid of the negative 15 by adding 15 to both sides. So that's 5x equals 20, divide by 5, and we get x equals 4. Now that we know what x equals 4, we can substitute that in, step 4, to find the other variable. So x equals 4. So since this equation is already solved for y, I'm going to substitute that in here. So y equals 2 times x minus 5. X we said was 4. Let me double check that. Yep. So we get y equals 2 times 4 minus 5. So y equals 8 minus 5, which is 3. So our answer is x comma y, so 4 comma 3. All right, there are two special cases that we're going to talk about. The first one is no solution. Just like when we're solving for an equation, we're going to get no solution when we have a false statement. So no solution when there's no variables and false statement. So for example, if we have y equals 2x minus 5, and I have 2x minus y equals 11. So step 1, I would substitute that into here for y. So we would have 2x minus y, which is 2x minus 5 equals 11. Distribute in that negative 1. We would have 2x minus 2x plus 5 equals 11. When we combine our like terms on the left-hand side, the 2x and the negative 2x, we get 0. So I'm left with just 5 equals 11. No more variables, and this is false. 5 does not equal 11. Therefore, this is no solution. The other situation, and again, if you need to pause to write this down, please do so. The other situation is infinitely many. Solutions. Infinitely many solution happens when you have no variable and a true statement. So if you have y equals 2x, what was it, 2x minus 5? Yeah, minus 5, and you have 2x minus y equals 5. We have y equals 2x minus 5, so we substitute that into the other equation for y. So that's 2x minus y, but we take y out and we substitute in 2x minus 5. So we get 2x, distribute that negative, that gives us now negative 2x plus 5 equals 5. Combine those like terms, positive 2x plus negative 2x is 0, so we're left with 5 equals 5, which is a true statement, therefore infinitely many solutions. Again, if you need to pause this video to write this down, go back and re-listen to an explanation. Please do so before moving on. All right, your homework tonight is Chapter 7, Assignment Number 1, which is a worksheet. The worksheet is posted on Classroom. You have 3 ways to complete this worksheet. The first way is you can complete it on your Chromebook via Kami extension or something similar if you have have a different extension that works the same. The other option is if you printed this yesterday, you can use your printed copy. Or the third option is if you did not print this last night, but you don't want to use Cami, you can do the work on a separate sheet of paper. Answers are at the bottom of the worksheet, so please make sure you check your answers once you're finished. When you are done, show the substitute teacher that you are done. All right, have a wonderful day.